Okay, welcome to another YouTube video. Oh my god, panas! You know, just a bit of a background story about like how I kind of went from being a ballerina to a piano teacher. So basically, until now, I just feel like it's still very surreal for everything to be happening in this manner, because I feel like being a piano teacher was not really like it wasn't really like a thing. Like, I wasn't my dream when I was young. Like, I had always wanted to be like a ballerina, and I was always very much focused on like performing arts side. I started doing ballet when I was 3. I went ahead with piano when I was 5, and then I went ahead to do figure skating when I was 8. It was the best thing ever because like I just love to perform in general, so being able to be in that path since young it just feels good, you know. I started doing ballet when I was 3, and then that was because of how I really enjoyed dancing. And like, you know how ballerinas are being perceived, right? They're very like elegant, they're just so smooth and just so gentle. I think that's what made me, and they're just very flexible, so that's what made me like really want to kind of like pursue ballet. I did all the grades, and the last grade that I took was advanced 2 level. I took it twice. So the first time that I took it, it was in Indonesia, and when I saw the results, it was not what I wanted. I told my mom like I wanted to retake the advanced 2 level again. I think at that point of time when I took it, it was they were kind of like switching the syllabus from the old one to the new one, and so we kind of like had to relearn everything from the start again. And that's what I did, if I remember. My mom was able to book an intense training in London, in Royal Academy of Dance. I don't remember who my teacher was. Miss Claire? I don't remember, but I went there for 2 weeks, and my training would always start at like 8 in the morning for like 1.5 hours or like 2 hours. It was definitely a good experience, a new experience. And then there was this one time where I was like late. Actually, not one time, plenty of times. So she didn't like students being late, and honestly I get that. So after that, we just continued with all the exercises from the bar to the center with the points and everything. Thankfully, my mom was able to book me the exam during that 2 weeks of my time being there. On that day itself, there were 4 of us, so it was me and 3 other students who were also British. When I got out of the exam, I was very much relieved, and I was very much like satisfied with how it went compared to the first time that I took my exam. Went back to Indo, and then I got back the results, and girl, it was great. Like it finally paid off. It was definitely a very satisfying result, so it's a win-win. Other than my ballet training, I had my ice skating training as well. So during one of those days where I was like when I had my ice skate training, I was doing like a normal warm-up where like I would be doing my flexibility exercises, my jumps off the ice. I feel like at that point of time, my warm-up, I think it wasn't very long. I would say it was about like 30 minutes, because normally I would take about like an hour to do my warm-up. One of the jumps that I did that had me on the floor was an axel. So for those of you who don't know what an axel is, it's basically like a jump where you have to spin in the air for 1.5 rotation. You need to like put your left leg over, so it's something like that. Yeah, something like that. And then you have to put your arms like that on the right hand side. Once you land, you have to land it on your right leg, and you have to put your leg out, your left leg out like that. Okay, you know what? I think the first few rounds of doing the axel of the ice was okay. The last axel that I attempted, that was when I was like about to land on my right leg. That's where like my ankle just clicked like that. That was where my leg, and then I fell on the floor, and then I couldn't even get up. And then this was like a few hours before my lesson with my coach. Yeah, my mom was there, so she saw me, and then after that she just had to cancel the class, and we just immediately just went to the hospital to get it checked. So at that point in time, I was very much devastated because it's like, oh my gosh, I really put so much hard work on it. I started when I was really young, so the fact that I started when I was 3 all the way to like 18, and then it just vanished just like that, just because of my tall ligament. I think it took me a good year to kind of like let everything sink in and slowly transition to piano. So I think I was in year 12 and I was preparing for like my IB exam. Doctor was like, okay, we need surgery, we need to do it as soon as possible. But I think we didn't really end up going for the surgery because we were afraid of whatever side effects or whatever implications that might kind of like come after the surgery. So the alternative way that we did was to go for like physiotherapy. They did say that without surgery, obviously you can't really get your right ankle healed fully. So at that point of time, my mom was like, yeah, we're not doing ballet anymore, just go for piano. So at first I was like very opposed to it. I'm like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Because back then, even though I took piano classes weekly, I wasn't really like into it until I got into NAFA. I feel like the transition of becoming a ballerina to like a pianist was a very hard thing for me because my head was always so focused on like, oh, I want to be a ballerina, I want to be a ballerina. It was a very hard transition to kind of like finally accept the fact that like I'm not gonna take ballet as my major. Being a ballerina or taking ballet as a major might have not been the best choice, just because, you know, when it comes to being a ballerina, there's like an age limit, right? So you can't be a ballerina forever just because, you know, you're gonna grow old, your muscles are not gonna be as strong as when you were young, right? So I took it as a sign that like, yeah, that is not for me. I think that kind of like redirected my passion and my career into piano teaching. Even when you grow old, you can still play the piano, you can still teach, you know, there's no age limit compared to like being a ballerina, right? So I wish I would have experienced something else that was not very painful. I guess it led me to something that I didn't think that I was gonna be, which is very interesting. And it's very interesting to kind of like know how life just kind of like takes you in that way, in the most unexpected way. It's funny how life works, but I guess that's how it is. Am I happy that it led me to this direction of like being a pianist and also a piano teacher? Yeah. I always feel like everything happens for a reason. I always believe in that quote. Thank you very much for staying all the way until the end of this video. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.